When it comes to quality human resource, clearly Nigeria is not running short. Home and abroad, Nigerians are making waves in different strata and also their endeavors. But then to bring to bear these talents of Nigerians, including those in the diaspora, in order to harness the vast potentials of the country and better the lot of citizens, has always been a daunting task. On the spot this week, we'll share perspectives on tapping the knowledge of Nigerians in the diaspora for the overall development of the country. My guest is going to be doing justice to that. My name is Blessing Abu. Welcome to the program. My guest is a trained author, lawyer, and consultant. He hails from Umuoji in Anambra State and has the privilege of growing up in Nigeria and the United States of America. He holds a Doctor of Jurisprudence in Law from the University of the District of Columbia in the United States of America, and he's among the few Africans who have served as commissioners in the U.S. Public Service from 2002 to 2007, and as Commissioner for Housing and Community Development. On the political front, he was in 2004 elected president of the first Nigerian American Advocacy, where he served for 2 years. My guest will also delve into Nigerian politics when he declared his intention to seek the office of the president of the country back in 2018 for 2019 election, of course. And even the experiences from the different parts of the world served as inspiration and resource to his first published book, Sons of Thunder, an American Odyssey, which highlighted practical issues of social economic development. On the spot, I'd like to welcome astute Nigerian lawyer, international affairs consultant, and politician, Okey, Samuel Mbonu. Nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Blessing. It's my pleasure to be here.
Your background, speaking so much about training and service in the United States, let's get to know the Nigerian part of you.
Okay. Well,
at least before you move to the United States.
Yeah, certainly, yes. My heritage is Anambra State, but in reality, because my parents were public servants, they were transferred from place to place, and so I had a chance to spend time in several different regions of Nigeria, including the southeast and the south-south. Because of that, I picked up values from different parts of Nigeria, and you know, being a native of Anambra State by heritage is by default, you know, just a foundation. I'm also very vast with the subcultures of different parts of Nigeria, from the north, south, and west. So consider myself truly a cosmopolitan Nigerian. Yes. And
how did that help your worldview when you got to United States and still dates?
Yeah, what happens is that what a lot of people do not realize is that growing up across Nigeria, especially when you have a chance to do it in different parts of Nigeria, it sharpens your mind, because diversity adds a mix into your head, into your worldview, that you cannot get by solely being, you know, in Onitsha or being in Kano or being in Sokoto, where you are, you know, sort of narrowed down to one particular culture. And so when you step outside of Nigeria with the level of diversity that you can imbibe here, it gives you the ordinary capacity to interface with people who are different from you, both, you know, ethnically, you know, say they're of a different race, or they have a different educational background, or they have a different religious background. You know, you find that you can blend in and out with all of that diversity in the world, because diversity is one of the most beautiful things in the world.
And that's the beautiful thing that the diaspora community is noted for, the diversity, the multicultural influences that every one of you have brought to bear in the different groups, whether it's NIDO, whether it's NIDOI, whether it's whatever the acronym you have chosen to give yourselves outside the country. Let's take a look at the diaspora community, which you're part of. It's been from one area of the other, from your endeavors, coming back home to give back to your parents' country. But then, of recent too, we've seen aspects of agitation to secede, looking this one. What exactly is happening that singular voice that we used to know with the diaspora? What is happening?
Well, what it is that sometimes you find people who are not sufficiently exposed, even though they may live somewhere in a corner of the world and classify themselves as diaspora, and because they do not have perhaps a career that has exposed them to what it takes to actually move a nation forward, to progress, they fall back on the default of the narrow prison that they started out with. And because of that, they may tend not to appreciate the diversity of culture and the diversity of people, especially in a country like Nigeria. And then also there's a pocket of people in Nigeria who are also not sufficiently healed from the frictures of the Nigerian civil war. And that has to be acknowledged because the country perhaps did not heal fully. And some of the successive leaders after that conflict did not make it easy for the healing to happen. Some made the efforts, some tried. I do give efforts to some of them. But some leaders that have emerged in Nigeria over the past I'll say maybe 20, 30 years, did not quite understand, perhaps, up between then and now, did not quite understand that for Nigeria to emerge and progress to a point where it will be the envy of other nations, where it actually has the capacity for that, but that every integral part of this country has to be carried along. And the main reason is because there are talents in different parts of this country. I don't care whether it's Sokoto or Calabar or something. There are talents in this country that you have to identify and pull them into the mix. Because ultimately, in a presidential system of government, the president will always get the credit anywhere at any given point in time. So if a president finds talent in Bauchi, for example, or finds talent in Anambra, and they ignore that talent, then it's at their own peril. Because if the country is held moribund when any particular president is in power.
Okay, if that is what has been happening to us, and we are raising our concerns, we are decrying such situation, and it's now happening amongst those of you we think, okay, having gone outside the shores, and they should know and felt a better system, as you people want to let us know that there's a better system out there. And yes, even if we say that. So what are those chemistries and also the supposedly weak and fractured diaspora community? Are you rising up to the occasion to actually correct those infractions amongst yourselves out there so that you bring it back to the nation for us to at least take a cue?
Yeah, certainly. I think a significant portion of the diaspora community, I cannot speak for every single one of them, a significant portion have a kind of nostalgia towards Nigeria. And for me, I've spent time in North America, in Asia, in Europe, in the Caribbean countries, and there's no part of the world that has the art DNA of this corner of the world. That if you look at the world map and you see where the geographical space of Nigeria is, that little corner of West Africa, which is sort of like the heartbeat of Africa. Okay, the art that exists here is so deep that even the locals, even people here, don't know it until you step out and look at it from the outside looking in. And it exists in different parts of the country too, pockets of it. And so when you come out, the rest of the world may be very developed technically, but it can be also a little boring compared to Nigeria. What is this here? There's art in the food. There's, and forget about the music and all that. It's sort of so vital that in different corners of the world you see a little piece of that Nigerian rhythm. And that is, it has become more prevalent now because the internet has opened it up. That's why Nigerian performers like Burna Boy are all of a sudden, shot out into the world stage, and people, find it very, very intriguing. Okay, but some people also choose to, for whatever reason, just dwell on the negative aspects of being Nigerian. They strive. What I would consider weird inter-ethnic, maybe hatred, even though hatred is a strong word. And then you find that why would somebody despise someone from a different part of the country that they have never really met? And then the responsibility comes back to what some of the leaders have done to further their own career by creating a situation where people from maybe their part of the country would despise people from another part of the country so that they can emerge, and take this space.
Such things we can also change. And I'm going to be looking at some of these areas with you after this break, because we're going on a break now. You're watching On The Spot, and it's with Okey Samuel Mbonu. I'll be right back after this break. Okay, thank you for staying with us. The program is still On The Spot. I still have my guests seated. Okey Samuel Mbonu, you served as Public Service Commissioner, and that's for housing.
Yeah.
Yes, back in the US. That's between 2002 to 2004
and seven.
Okay, yes. Share with us that experience. What was like? What's led to your inspiration going there or being taken in to say, okay, you can serve in this capacity, really? Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes we are primarily, driven by some of the interests, that we have. I've always been interested in public affairs. I think I may have even done my first part of my public service.
Under tutelage of your parents?
Yes, tutelage of my parents.
Servants.
Yes, okay. Yes, they were, yeah. So got exposed to public service perhaps from the age of 5, 6. My father would serve in different capacities. But the thing is, on a practical level, when I was in graduate school, in law school in the United States, I ran for election to represent the student community at the University Senate, and got elected to that, to be on the governing board of the university as a senator representing the students. That was my first breakout moment. And then after that, I began to work closely with some of the governing officials, political leaders in the part of the US that I was in. And because I helped to get some of them elected into office as governors, senators, or reps, they forwarded my name for an appointment. A political appointment, and so at that time,
so it was more like a good turn deserving another.
Yeah,
is that the instance?
A bit of that.
You actually merited as
no, I definitely did merit that, because you have to have some minimal competencies. I was already a graduate of one of the good law schools in the United States, and I had served in other community leadership positions. So they found that this person is worthy, is competent, and he can deliver on this front. And so, but the interesting thing is that when I was appointed commissioner, I got appointed into one of the most important agencies in government, which is a housing and community development. Yes.
Now let's get back. Let's bring it back to our own nation. Like you have already pointed, this is one key service area to the people. Housing is still an issue here. Community development is still a burden for so many people. What do you think we're not, that are not adding up when it comes to these areas in Nigeria?
Yeah, there are many foundational issues. One is that the political leaders at any point in time have to have the political will to actually deliver on what impacts the people. And I find that I've not seen a lot of that political will, but even if that political will is not there at maybe one or two high leadership levels, but there's a process of governance that is not being fully undertaken in Nigeria. Which is we adopted a U.S. presidential system of government, but we are not really practicing it the way it is practiced in the U.S. So it's almost like you buy a car and you don't drive it the way it's designed to be driven. That is a fundamental problem, because there's an accountability. When people go into office, it's actually public service. It's not rule. I hear some of the politicians throw out words like that here, even presidential candidates say, I can rule Nigeria, it's my turn to rule Nigeria. This is not a kingdom. This is not some autocracy that you come and rule over the people. This is a democracy, and the process of it is that the power belongs to the people, to you and I, to everyone. And if you are not going out there with the mindset that is a job for the people. It's not, you're not there, you're not going to sit on some throne, then it becomes a problem. Okay, and then if we recognize that that is actually, the power belongs to the people, then we ought to give the people the opportunity to be fully a part of the process. Because, for example, the political primary system in Nigeria really requires a lot of reform. Okay. The primary should be opened up in such a way that everyone gets a chance to participate in whatever primary, that whether they are interested in the APC primary or in the PDP primary.
Let's talk about I'm bringing some of your thoughts. We could wrap them up in this next question, actually. You also took a stint at politics, the Nigerian scene now, not back in the US, when you declared your intention to seek the office of the president. And like you said, it's not a kingdom. So I'm sure you had some purposeful vision to see to what was happening. Yes, from those of you in the diaspora who complain, okay, no, we've seen it this way. Why can't we try it this way? So what were you coming with? And I'm sure 2023 too is around the corner. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, in 2018, I moved to Nigeria after a significant sojourn to sort of get a practical feel. It's like, sometimes you have to get immersed in the system, to be able to begin to move that system towards progress. So I moved in primarily because my personal mission in life is that I'm action-oriented. I'm not just talking for the heck of it. I do what it is that I need to do to make an impact. And so when I moved to Nigeria, and dialogued with several different political parties. At the time, the party that I affiliated with seemed like they had a great potential. They've been around, but I found that there were very many limitations in how they actually planning to or not planning to prosecute a campaign at the presidential level. And so we encountered a lot of frustrations, which I consider learning curves. And those learning curves are what I may be bringing into the picture if I ultimately decide to engage in the 2023. It's a process that is capital intensive, but it's not capital intensive in the sense that the richest man in Nigeria has to become the president. In fact, I don't even think that has ever happened. The 2023 represents an opportunity for Nigeria to actually finally find a candidate who will be likened to be in the mode of the original founding fathers, people like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, and Tafawa Balewa, because these people were actually very molded in a national way of looking at things. They were not seeking perhaps the good of a particular region of the country. They saw the big picture. And somebody like myself would actually be a combination of those three people, because Tafawa Balewa, when you look at old videos of his in the 60s, you see that he was one of the smoothest, suavest prime minister in the world at the time when Nigeria was so young.
A great orator.
Yeah, great orator, yeah. And then you look at Nnamdi Azikiwe, you look at Obafemi Awolowo, you see these were men of vision. So,
And also at that point in time, the best of their youth were used to actually look out for the best aspect of development for the country. But what do we have today? Youth who are disoriented, who are also going the way that seems ugly, different from what the rest youth of the world are actually looking into. What are your thoughts over what you've seen of Nigerian youth and interest in politics and also the development of the nation?
Yeah. I've looked squarely at the youth and have conducted a lot of surveys over the past 4 years. And what I see in some parts of the country is quite alarming, because there is this over-emphasis on material showiness, which can be a problem, which I don't even find even in the richest part of the world. Like in the United States, which is the richest part of the world, I know what youths are like. I know what they aspire to, at a certain point in their life. And so there has to be some kind of ethical reorientation of some of the youth. There has to be, they have to sort of draw down a little bit and be a little bit patient, a little more patient in terms of having to pay some dues. But also the leadership needs to do certain things by example. By example, if the leadership does not show that ultimate example, then it becomes difficult to see a model that the youths can emulate. So I think that ultimately, if the people will consciously determine, it's going to be an effort where the entire country is actually going to be involved in. The youth have to learn that there's a process, there's a method to a madness. You don't just at 21 years old should not be dreaming about a Range Rover unless you have the biggest talent in Africa.
21, that's so old now. Okay. You hear people 15, 16 these days. Okay. Anyway, let's bring it to your work as an author. You've looked at the content from your book, Practical Social, Economic and Political Development Around the World, but you're using poetic rhymes. Okay. Yeah. What are the lessons here, or what exactly are you trying to just capture it?
Yes.
Briefly for us.
Okay. Now, the beauty of what I have done in the book is that over the years, the world's attention span has gotten shorter than it used to be. And so rather than sit down and read a 300 or 400 page book, I try to create a concise material where the stories are told in a poetic version, and so a 200 page or 100 page story can be condensed to a few pages where someone reads through a material and it jumps out at them. And because of that, my book is also being produced into short movies. Each of the chapters will have a different movie. And so what it captures is my experiences around the world. A part of it it's called Global Universal Verses, which captures my background in Nigeria. Some parts capture my experiences in the developed world. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Briefly now, last question.
Yeah.
The Nigerians in diaspora are so willing, like yourself, you're so willing to still come home, do more, collaborate, consult, have this conversation, do what it takes to actually make the home country better than you left it, or that the world is seeing or reading. What more would you want in terms of governance or the government stepping in to actually address some of these issues that you have been tabling over the years?
Okay. Well, one fact I would like to make clear from the onset is that in some ways the diaspora is Nigeria's 37th state, because there are so many people on the outside. But it's the 37th state that adds more value than any other state in this republic. Right off the start, the Nigerian diaspora manages to remit over $21 billion into the republic, which is actually more money than Nigeria is making from oil, petroleum sales. That's the old economy. But the thing is that whenever an opportunity comes to tap directly from the experience of a seasoned person who has acquired experiences that are not typically available here, I think the country will be unwise not to want to accept that possibility of creating solutions within the country. You know, because my career has been in the most rigorous environment in the world, in the United States, where the standards are extremely high in terms of public service, not business. So there are some people that are not suitable for public service, that are aspiring to be in public service in Nigeria. If someone ran a state down completely, you know, you know.
All right. Astute Nigerian lawyer, international affairs consultant, and politician Okey Samuel Mbonu. Thank you very much for coming on the spot.
Thank you.
I'm sure,
Thank you
given
so
the
much.
opportunity, I will have some rhymes and some other poetic lines being delivered to all your thirds here. It's so good to see another Nigerian who is passionate about life and also development for our people. And we look forward to having you some other time on any of other platform. And also we wish you, as well as other diaspora, the very best as you fly the Nigerian flag, and also to continue to represent us in a very diverse and beautiful world.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
And that's On the Spot for this week. We thank you for your time. Next time, it will be with another interesting guest on the spot. My name is Blessing Abu. Goodbye.